Radio Raheem here with Anthony Joshua. We're in London once again. I've traveled over for yet another huge card, but this is your first title defense. You're IBF heavyweight champion now. Talk to me about how your life, if at all, has changed from winning the title and being a title holder heading into your first defense.
I'm always going to put boxing as the primary focus, which is always important. And the good thing is the people around me sing the same song with me. So I haven't been able to have much time to lap up the luxuries and enjoyments of being the champ, but on the other side, it's kind of made me a bit more hungry. I think I've got an opportunity, the people around me have got better opportunities, so we're all kind of like motivating each other, saying let's capitalize, because when it's all said and done, and I've got all the time in the world on my hands when I retire, I don't want to look back and say I wish I'd done this and I wish I'd done that. So it's just made me a bit more motivated, not only to achieve in the ring, but capitalize on the outside of things as well.
There's been a lot said about your charisma, your charm. You've got, good looks. People are attracted to not just your performance in the ring, but outside the ring. You've got an affable personality. You're an attractive type of fighter. I say that, but I say that in reference to like the biggest heavyweight star we've ever had, biggest star in boxing, Muhammad Ali, having passed. I'm not, obviously putting that on you. I'm saying you coming up as a heavyweight champion right now, knowing that Muhammad Ali is really a global figure, not just an American.
A global figure, yeah.
It's curious to see how he's affected people all over the world outside of the country that he was raised and became champion in. I'm wondering if that affected you at all and how that may influence your career.
I understand the cycle of life. Everyone has a start date and an end date. And I liked the fact that he devoted the end of his life aiming to get to paradise, aiming to get to heaven. So for me, his death was more of a celebration, so I looked at the positives and how he brought rabbis, Muslim leaders, Christian leaders, Buddhists together, queens, princesses, princes and kings together. So it was like more of a celebration of his life. So I took some motivation from it more than, it didn't sadden me as much. I kind of understood what he wanted with his life. He planned his funeral. So he kind of understands the concept of life and he's just trying to better himself. So it motivated me to kind of follow that path and get where you're giving yourself so much to the sport. Sometimes you don't have enough time to find yourself and give something back to yourself. So it just made me wake up and say, I need to give a little something to myself and find who I am and what I want to be doing with my life. Because as I said, I'm on a journey towards the end. And that's just how life is, and that's where my motivation comes from Ali passing.
Being a young guy, obviously you were too young to see him in the ring, but knowing the influence that he had being heavyweight champion, the way he was able to change the world in many ways, do you feel any of that kind of responsibility? Do you feel like that's part of being heavyweight champion or 100%. Just a choice he made?
Well, yeah, it's a choice. It's definitely a choice, and everyone has a choice. Especially when you're a sportsman, it's a bit different. You're not an entertainer. You are, but you're not. You're a role model. People look at you as a role model. So it's a different ball game being a fighter. There's no other sport like it. But at the same time, I think the youth need leaders, people who they can relate to, because sometimes people who they're supposed to relate to, who they're supposed to look up to in positions of power, are so detached from the realities of what's going on in let's say deprived areas or kids with lack of access to things they need to access these people at top. Sports gives everyone an opportunity, so that's where sports is good, and that's where I think my duty comes into kind of advertise myself properly to the masses, and it is a duty in itself that people don't really get. They just think that I'm just in the gym grinding, but there's a big duty. I'm working with some high-end people, and I've got to represent myself properly at all times because I've got a lot of people counting on me.
Now, Ali was a big talker. That's nothing new to the boxing game, but a comment that might actually need a pause. It's Tyson Fury. Like, it seems like every time I come down here, right, exactly. He seems to outdo himself, and it begs the question, how do you receive these kind of wild, outlandish statements? I mean, to be honest with you, it'll make me laugh. I can't even actually give you the whole quote, but you know what it is. It's basically like anal raping you, and that being something that he, wants to do or thinks that, is intimidating. How when you hear something like that, what's your reaction?
It has to go in one ear and out the other. I can't let it eat me up. I can't let it do anything to me, really, because those type of comments are so irrelevant. But it's good that we've got the Tyson Fury in the game. You know, we need him. You know, I'm glad that he's here, and I'm not shy to say that we need someone like Tyson Fury. And I enjoy the talk because he, in his own way, he adds a bit of spice to the pot. You know, and with all of us, we're making the ingredients to bring boxing back to the good days. It's boxing gold once again. And in a pot of gold, you need different elements to make it what it is. So Tyson Fury is a good player. So please keep on talking, but it falls on deaf ears when it's on me. You know what I mean?
When you guys discuss, when I say you guys, I mean you and Eddie. When I talk to both of you, you talk the same way about the trajectory of your career.
Yeah.
You take your time, make the fights that make sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that Tyson just egging you on to get under your skin for a future bout, or do you think this kind of back and forth would hasten the fight, might bring it faster?
It'll bring it faster. The good thing about boxing is the public kind of control what fights are going to happen because it's controlled by TV. So if a public are looking at it saying, if me and Fury fight, there's going to be X amount of hundreds of thousands of people watching it, they're going to be pushing buttons one way or another promoting that fight. So the more he talks, the more I talk, the more people click in, the more the TVs think, this is going to be a good fight, the quicker it happens. And that's a good thing because that's my job, is to fight people. And then you have the good people on board that are going to guide me to make sure that once it happens, it's done at the right time for my career, done on my terms as well. So when I look back on things, I'm like, cool. I'm glad I took that fight and I'm glad I done it under my terms. So there's people pushing the fight and that want it to happen, but we keep things in control and make sure it's at the right time for us as well.
You're a heavyweight champion. He's the heavyweight champion in that he's got the most belts. He's seen as the heavyweight champion. But with his behavior this way, these kind of comments, just honestly, do you respect the guy?
I respect anyone, but it's what level of respect I give them. Do you see what I'm saying? So I respect everyone. You know, everyone's special in their own way, but it's what level of respect I give him. So it's going to be a different level.
What level of respect do you give him?
It won't be the same respect as I give my father. It won't be the same respect as I give you. We have a general conversation, but sports is sports. When it's all said and done, you shake hands and you walk out and go about your business. But until then, we can be rivals, we can be competitors, whatever you want to call it. So the respect has to be minimum, and the aggression, the animosity, the will to want to win against Tyson Fury has to stand well above anything else. Any respect I have for him, the will to win has to stand well above that.
You've brought Dominic Breazeale over. He's challenging now for your IBF title.
Yeah.
He said things that you would expect in a heavyweight fight. Nothing too outlandish, too crazy. But when you guys had your first face-off, there were some words, that weren't picked up by the mic. It seemed like some immediate tension there. Can you talk to me about what happened in that moment and what kind of energy is between the two of you?
Well, Dominic's an intelligent guy. All it was really, for me, is I was tired anyway. It's been a long day, so I've come over. I see this, I saw it as work. Come over, shook his hand. Thanks for coming over. Pictures, please. Pictures. Done the face-off. And you're looking at each other. As I walked up, I can still feel him. I'm like, where are you trying to take this? Is this work or have you got an issue? And that's how I just asked him, what's the issue? But sometimes you just have to address it professionally and let the fist do the talking in the ring. But I just wanted to address the situation. And with the cameras there, they picked up every moment of that. And it was probably a different side to what people are used to. And that's just the workload sometimes. It just gets on top. So that's all it is, really.
So in a moment like that, like the other Anthony Joshua made came out a little bit, that he invaded your personal space. It looked like, something.
That's what it was, just a bit of personal space. I'm quite respectful, as you said. I respect everyone to a degree. But as I said, I think that he was trying to push the boundaries. He was definitely trying to push the boundaries.
Now, a fighter we saw here today that we haven't seen since he was in the ring with you was Dillian Whyte.
Oh, was he here as well?
He was here as well. He's on your undercard.
Yeah.
I talked to him about that fight, and he's telling me that he had a shoulder injury previous to the fight, that, he felt it pop in the second. If he had not had that injury, maybe he wins the fight. These kind of things. He claims that you knew he had a shoulder injury before the fight. Is that true?
Well, me and Dylan were supposed to fight. Who did he fight on the Gary Cornish show? Brian Minto.
Yeah, I think so.
Brian Minto, and I think we were supposed to fight. We wanted to schedule a fight before then. We had a broken hand, so we postponed it. We wanted to fight on the card where I fought Gary Cornish. But he said he wanted to be 100% for this fight because it's a serious fight. It's a British title fight, so he postponed it to December 12th. He fought as well, he fought that Costa Jr., I think, on the Luke Campbell undercard, Brian Minto, to make sure everything was fine. Then he scheduled to fight me. So for me, and he got, Vladimir Klitschko's trainer in. He had a good camp. So if he did have a shoulder injury, he put up a great performance, so credit to him. And if he didn't, he just fell short. And if he's using that as a way to get another fight, he could stop, because I would be more than willing to compete with Dylan once again sometime in the future.
He says it's a fight he wants. He's willing to take it now, of course, or climb his way back into it.
Who's he fighting on Saturday?
I think they've just named the opponent. I can't even name him because it just came up
So
like today or yesterday.
He should focus on getting himself back into the heavyweight contention rather than fighting. So stop talking about it and just do it. Just get up there, get your name, back, and fight someone like Chisora or Hay, and then build something big. If you're gonna say you want these fights, attack them fights. Stop talking about it and just get on with it.
And lastly, this is your Showtime debut. You're going to be on American television. There's another heavyweight champion on the card. We're going to see Deontay Wilder that night.
Yeah.
How does Anthony Joshua steal that show? How do you become the guy in the heavyweight division right now? The fans over here already put you in that place. Where do you get the rest of the glow?
We're in 16 fights. Let's look at the champion's records at 16 fights. I think what I'm achieving in a humble way is a blessing. You see what I'm saying? So look at where I am now. God willing, I win Saturday. Just gauge the progression. So let's rewind their careers back to 16, 17 fights, going into their third year as professionals, and where they are now, and gauge the potential I have. So you're watching them at the stage where they kind of are fiending for the fights because they're getting older. They're at a stage now where they've got another route. So I've got so many routes to go. So follow this journey. Jump on my journey with me, because it's just the beginning. We've got a long road to get. As I said, it's not even 3 years as a pro yet, only 16 fights. And I'm telling you, look at their opponents at 16 fights. Who did, before Wilder fought for the title, I think he fought Jason Gavin, before he fought for the title, right? We fought Gavin in like my 9th or 10th fight. So it's like we're on track. Just be patient, but you've got a journey to follow and someone who's doing his best. And I think, as I said, you never know in heavyweight boxing, but no matter what happens, at the end of the road, destiny is calling me to be a heavyweight to be reckoned with.
We all know how television works. You win your fight, Wilder wins his fight.
I said, USA, I'd love to go out there and compete. If that's where we're going, it'd be great. As I said, I think it's as simple as this. We're in the era of me, at the minute, Breazeale, because he's competing for the title, White, he wants to compete, Hay, Fury, Wilder, Chris Arreola, Povetkin, Vladimir, Fury. Then you had, as I said, like Holyfields, Tysons, Lewis's, all these guys. Everyone fights each other in the era. These fights will happen. There's no way in my humble opinion, there's no way these fights can't happen.
Are you ready for that fight right now?
Mentally, 100%. Experience, no. I'll do it when I'm ready, because I know, when I get to the level that they got to when they fought for their title, if I keep on progressing the way I am, I'm going to be here to stay.
We can't wait to see you on that next stage of progression at the O2 Arena Saturday night, June 25th. Anthony Joshua takes on Dominic Breazeale, your first title defense, IBF champion. Joshua, Radio Raheem, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me over.
It's showtime.
Oh, you're good.